transformation exercise that we're conducting here. So my name is James Cox, and a little bit about myself. I didn't realize until the other day I was having a conversation with a friend of mine in regards to sales background, because I never thought I would end up in sales. But he was asking me about total experience, and I said, well, does that include retail? He said, yes. So it dawned on me that I've been in sales in some capacity for over 20 years. So I don't know if it was more depressing, the fact that I'm finishing up my degree, or just the stigma that's associated with sales. So one of the things that I learned a long time ago, I've gone through a number of sales trainings and done a number of different things from retail and whatever, but one of the things that's kind of stuck with me is, sales is just about relationships, right? So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter whether it's retail, or you're in project management, or whatever it is. You're trying to tell somebody what you're talking about, your process, or whatever it is. So we talk a little bit today about finding the pain. So one of the things that I've used in the past, so you guys must need to walk up here with a balloon, right? So what's he going to do with this? So I'm going to blow this up real quick. So what this balloon represents is the person that's sitting across from you, or it could represent the meeting, that you have with somebody, or it could be about anything. So, and that meeting could just be somebody with your parents or whatever. So basically what this represents is that, and when you don't really pay attention, when you hear someone's actually asked for your time, they've asked for your feedback of some kind, you've taken some time to sit down, what happens? Nothing is accomplished. You've lost control of the meeting. You have no idea why you were there. You don't know, what's really taking place. All you know is, I hate meetings when you're done with it. So we're going to talk a little bit today about that. We're going to discuss the value of active listening. We're going to discuss how to identify pain points. We're going to talk about how to push the conversation in the right direction. And then once you have that conversation, what to do with that information. So what I'm going to do now, I provided some post-it notes around the room. So at some point, if you do have any questions as they come up, if you want to parking lot them, jot them down on the sticky note, stick them down. You're not necessarily required to have a question, but there may be some questions after. The only thing I will have you do is write down your first name and your email address and cell phone, so I will be able to follow up with you after the meeting. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go around the room, and I'm going to ask each of you just your first name and what you do for a living. That could be anything, your job, school, or whatever. So I'm going to start with you.
Okay. Mark Mansler. I do web and graphic design, and I work for a home builder doing their marketing.
Very cool. Very cool. Mark.
I'm Tom Hall, and I'm currently retired, but I did do IT support for 20 years.
That's right. And retirement can actually be a job. Staying busy. You're actually busier in retirement, probably.
Oh, God, yes.
That's all right. How about you?
I'm Katie McAnally, and I was a tanning consultant for Plain and Tan here in Denton, but I actually took this semester off, because I want to be a full-time student and graduate as soon as possible. So that's where I'm at.
Very nice.
And my name is Gary Alexander. I am currently a project manager. I've been doing project management for probably about 12 years or so. That's what I do full-time.
Very cool. So we've got kind of a wide array. We've got full-time student, retiree, we've got marketing, project management. So one of the things that there should be something that you might get out of this, and at some point. So my biggest thing I ask on a daily basis when someone comes to me is, what do you need? What is so important that you pulled me aside? So it's whether I've got 2 kids. It's constantly being pulled on. I've got somebody walking in that whatever they think is important at the time, that's what you're being pulled into, right? So thanks so much for the update about your super busy life. Nobody has ever gone to work at the gym or made dinner in one day. How do you do it? So it's constantly, it's just, and what you find is you put yourself in that position of just being antagonistic, and you may just tend to shut down. So, I've already kind of touched on it. So wait, I'm not in sales, why am I here listening to this presentation? Outside of being somewhat of a requirement, you know, I would hope that you're going to get something out of this. But this is something I'm going to tie this in, and you'll see how. So, bottom line is there's always some pain, and that pain can be it can be just hey I want to sit down and talk to you. We got a budget, we got to pay a bill. It could be hey it's a project. We're under the pain is that we're short of funding, we're short of this, short of people, short of time. Finding a pain at retirement. Hey, I've got to schedule. You're busier now than you were when you're working. So it's trying to juggle all those things. So if you're in a meeting, there's a reason that you're in a meeting. So, but here's what I found out with, it's earlier on in my career, is what you tend to do in sales whenever they teach you something is you want to vomit information. I just learned all of this cool stuff. I just learned what this thing does. And from my background, I spent a lot of my background with marketing materials and search engine optimization and print. So I just ended up in that field. So I would learn about something new, graphic flooring, and I would just go, whoa, I just did 8 hours of that. So here's the thing is never assume you know what the reason is for the meeting. Someone may be calling you for a meeting. So never assume you're going to have the answer to that. So if I ask, I'll walk in and say, hey Tom, I'd like to meet with you for a little bit, and and I may have some things to discuss with you. Are you open to that? And you may come back to me and go, yeah, absolutely, because I do have some issues. I would normally walk in and just assume that I've got an answer. I've gotten way past that because odds are I don't know. And I've stopped carrying a lot of material to a meeting. So a lot of what you find is, I didn't do a lot of handouts for this, I have Post-it notes. Because at the end of the day, I don't know what kind of questions that you guys may have. I don't know if you'll have any questions. What I did get from you is some contact information. So, it's just coming in and finding out, is there a need, is there something that I could do for you, down the road. So always ask questions, and then that was the biggest thing is shut up. So if you ask somebody a question, just make sure that you're listening. Okay, so this is where the active listening parts come in. You ask a question, you shut up, the person's talking, right? So open with confirming why you're there. Okay, look, why are you guys here? Well, we know why we're here, right? So we've all confirmed that this is something we've chosen to do. And this is where you kind of start opening up the lines of communication. So he's like, well, why are you guys here? I'm here because I did want to learn a little bit more about active listening, so I know all of you do. So then, if I start asking you, so Gary, walk me through your day. I'm trying to get ready to come to this meeting. So I'm like, hey, what happened? So what did you have to do today to get ready to come up here tonight? So, is it?
Yeah, there's a lot of prep to get ready to come up. And getting family aside, pushing them back so that I can make sure that I have time to get things done that I need to get done, to get here. There's a lot.
That's crazy. Did you have to take off work?
Yes.
That's great. Is it on like one of your package days? You have like a set number of days off, and you had to use one of those for?
No, this was in addition.
Oh, very nice. So the family's missing you because you brought their dinner up here, I'm hoping. So people are looking for you. That could be painful.
Yeah, hopefully I can come back home.
That's right, yeah. You got to face these people whenever you leave here. Right. So that an example of asking the right questions. So that caused some stress. So you're having to go back and get a little bit of family time. So and that's, if we would have delved down a little bit farther, like, look, I had to take the day off, and it's going to mean that tomorrow's super busy. Or, I was supposed to take the kids tonight, but now I'm going to have them over the weekend, or whatever it is.
Right.
So, basically, that's where the point is that if you're sitting across somebody, just expand on that. And how does it affect you personally? So you're like, man, I'm tired, brought the stuff up,
Right.
Maybe I miss my kids, so, and then if there's a way to do it, what would you have done differently,
Right.
So if there is a way to do it differently. So that's what I usually will ask my client is like, look, I'm sitting up here, I'm talking to you about this, and you've expanded on some problems, right? Found pain. So, I threw the Homer Simpson up here. You don't like your job, you don't go on strike, you go in every day, and you do it really half-assed, and that's the American way. So it's kind of true, So there's not a lot of, there's a choice that you've got to make, but that could be anybody that's called you into a meeting. So that could be an advisor, that could be pretty much anybody. So that could be, you worked at Planet Tan, right?
Yeah.
So you've had a lot of pain, because I've worked retail.
So much
So
pain.
much pain, and that's another presentation, I don't have time, we can get into that in a little bit. But see, there's a lot of that, so you expand on the issues that you brought up, and when that happens, what does that do to your day? And so you want to make that emotional spot. Now it's just not a meeting, so it's just about relationship building, right? So, and be sympathetic, it's like, and I'm not trying to downplay because we're all kind of in the same boat, we're all putting people aside or doing things here, right? So, and I mentioned, take notes. So you've taken all this time to actually set a meeting, sit down with somebody, and they're talking a lot, so make sure that you remember that when you leave. And don't interrupt. I throw this in, and if I actually had one of my old sales trainers in, they would actually slap me around for having the magic wand word on the board. But it's the whole thing is, if you could wave a magic wand and change anything about what you had done, what would that look like? So I'll ask customer how it look. If you could change anything about this, I would have, better communication. I'd have more IT. I would have this. I'd have more assistance or whatever. I might, for my personal self, if I can wave a magic wand, wouldn't necessarily be here 20 years after I should have graduated. So, you know what I mean? Should have focused, spent less time at the bar,
Right.
But there's a reason that everything happens, and so because of that, career takes you here. So,
I got a question.
sir, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
All right. What would you do about someone who is always,
Interrupting. Or is that what I said?
yeah, shutting down,
Shutting down.
with meetings and jokes or comments?
Yeah, because doesn't it seem like there's always like one or two jokesters at a meeting, and this is like a every week kind of deal.
Taser works.
Taser. Painful.
Yeah.
So, this is actually a good exercise. It's a great question. One way to do that, parking lot. So you can use the parking lot just for what you did, because you made some notes, you had it to one side, but you can actually give a timetable for that parking lot. So if for someone, that's a pain point, you're in a meeting and they're shutting it down and there's no way you can control that, but what you would really take a look at is, hey look, I'm going to pass you out some sticky notes. I'm going to talk for about 30 minutes, and then I'm going to open it up, and then we're going to get back to it. I didn't necessarily put a time frame on here, but yeah, that's exactly what you could do that with. So if you've got any comments, let me get through it, and there'll be a time for you to speak. So as long as you set some precedent, you're good to go.
Give them some me time.
Right, because you're going to have to circle back to them a little bit, but if you set it up, otherwise it's like herding cats. It's trying to get everybody back in, everybody's wanting to chime in, and it's just, you've lost complete control, especially the person that thinks that, this is open mic night. So I would throw those out. By the way, we're doing parking lots. I'll take a break in 15 minutes and we'll answer questions. So it's a great question. Repeat it back. Repeat back what you heard. Ask what they would have done differently. We've already talked back to the magic wand. And here's the thought, why am I here? Is that across from a client? I said, well, let me get this straight. You have a printer, you have an online portal, you have inventory, and I have no clue, why am I sitting here? Because if somebody won't give you the pain point, like I have no idea why I'm sitting here.
Yes, and what have I missed?
No, you've got everything that I've got, so there's a reason you've taken an hour out of your day to sit here. So they've gone, well, honestly, my printer drives me crazy. The price point's there. I had this, I met with, throw out a name, Cowboy Chicken, so I met with their branding manager. And she's like, it's driving me crazy. My ad agency's doing this, my inventory's doing that. We tried to open up a store, we got the wrong things. Major pain point, because she has everything that I have. But with her, I just said, okay, so if I understood you correctly, this is where we're at, and this is some of the pain points I could help you address. So it really kind of pushes that value for me. It pushes, you don't talk about price or anything like that. You just talk about what you can fix. So, is that light at the end of the tunnel a train?
Oh.
So, now what? You found it, they're painful, they're opening up, they're bleeding, they're crying in the office, they're doing something, right? So, be aware at the time for the meeting. So, we're all on a timetable here. So be aware, are we still good with 30 minutes? Are we still good for an hour? And then make sure that you're cognizant of their time and ask questions. If I were able to help you with some of that, would you see that being helpful? What are your expectations for the meeting? Why are you there? Never leave or end the meeting without talking about next steps. So you've done all this, you've identified pain point, and while you're there, just set up a follow-up time for why you're there. hey, look, we've all got smartphones, pop up next Tuesday at 10 o'clock, can I give you a call, or can I come back in? So you've already got it set up. Well then, the hard part is just, I don't know, follow up. You've done all the hard work, and now you just gotta follow up with them. So, the work here is done. So it's, we've discussed, active listening, identifying pain points, pushing the conversation in the right direction. So you're really talking about what can I do to help you, and then honestly just follow up. So this would normally be a good spot. If we're doing parking lot, it's open forum as well. So I appreciate it. Are there any questions?
So, you said determining their expectations, sometimes you have to set those expectations.
Absolutely. So those expectations are, you let them know in general why you're there, and then you would talk to them about, well, I'm going to stop by, is 30 minutes still good for the meeting? And what I would like to get out of it is a general understanding of your potential need, why we're sitting here talking. So
Yes.
when you go in, and whether that's talking about a new project, whether it's talking about I'm sitting down with an advisor especially will tell you, by the way, we're going to be talking about this syllabus or this transcript or this. So marketing, that marketing is a completely gray area all the time. I work in that all day. So it's usually if you can set some sort of parameter going in.
Yeah, and part of the, if you don't have the answer, you have to have an exit strategy.
If you don't have the answer, I never assume I have the answer. So when I go in and say, I don't know what you need. Well, what do you sell? I don't know. A lot of things. What do you need? What do you need? So tell me what you think I can help you with. Take the time to meet with me.
Yes, that's part of the expectation setting, and also it might require a follow-up.
Absolutely. So I would assume that everything would have a follow-up. So fantastic question. I appreciate your time and great feedback. Thanks again.